Hi, welcome to ADHD Friendly. I am Patty, and as an ADHD coach, I'm already stumbling over my words. I'm here to support you to thrive with ADHD brain wiring. If you would like even more support, check out my website, ADHD-Friendly.com, where I have a membership that is all about tilting that playing field so you can thrive. This week's episode, I'm concentrating on a concert win. If you are listening to this, I invite you to check out my YouTube channel, ADHD Friendly, to see the visuals I'm going to share. I'm also going to update my spending. I'm going to share a tip related to protecting your brain. So I've talked a lot about, the brain balm with the bird. So I'm going to just give you a couple of tips to think about. This is my own kind of language. I've always thought about, told my kids, you need to protect your brain. I'm going to tell you what I mean and give you some tips. And then I have a product of the week and our main topic. So you're diagnosed with ADHD. Now what? What do you do now? Yeah. Plus, of course, I'll highlight my book of the week. Let's dive in and start with some strategies and information to hopefully make your day and week a little bit more ADHD friendly. All right, so here's my celebration. I went and saw AC/DC. I don't know if this is reversed. It could be. If it's backwards, I apologize. But you can see the picture. Come on, Angus Young, Brian Johnson. Cool. They came to Chicago. So stinking excited that I'd never seen them in concert. We had tickets to go almost 10 years ago. And that was when Brian Johnson, we were 2 shows away, and he called it because his doctor said, if you keep doing this, you're going to go deaf. Oh. So he stopped, and they brought in, Guns N' Roses, Axl Rose. And just not my thing. I was like, no, I want to go see AC/DC, not AC/DC featuring Axl Rose as the lead singer. So I never went, was hugely disappointed. And then they announced this year they were coming back and only playing like major stadiums. So they came to Soldier Field in Chicago. And so we took the kids and just had such a great time rocking out. So I thought I'd wear my shirt today in celebration. So this was one of the things that I purchased this week. Oh, yeah. It was not cheap as far as concert tees go, but I knew I was going to this concert since before Christmas. Yeah. Because we gave it to our kids as a Christmas gift. Oh, that's fun. And I planned for it. It was $50. I should have asked you how much you think a concert t-shirt was.
I can say that's probably, I would assume
I always have 35 in my head. I don't know why.
And then you get there.
And I was like, but what am I going to do? Yeah. And they did have ones out front, of course, that were like 20 and 20, but I'm like, no, I want the concert tee.
Yeah, it's for the mom.
So yeah. So I'm like, nope. I'm apparently going to spend $50 on a t-shirt. That's me. I did it. So, but I do love it. It makes me really happy. I got one, and it has all of if it's backwards, you can't read it. It has all the core dates. Yeah. So yeah, love it. And then the other thing that I bought was, I have a couple more t-shirts. I'm going to wear one next week, and I'm going to share a celebration about where I got it. So I spent $36 on this other t-shirt that I got. And I also got a clock.
The white one?
No.
Oh, is that one new?
No, that was from my bedroom. I moved it down. That one's going to move because the new clock that I got is very ADHD friendly. I'm going to talk about it on the podcast next week. And I'll talk about how much I spent on it next week, because I want it to be seen to appreciate the amount I spent on it. So I'm going to talk about that next time. But the other thing I purchased was a squeegee.
Ooh.
Look at this guy. So he's been used. Yeah. He looks a little worn out. It's because I used him. So this is the Unger Professional 6-inch window cleaning tool, $13.99 on Amazon. And I'm highlighting this because it's a 2-in-1 squeegee and scrubber. Right. I have paned windows. Mm-hmm. Every window in my house has like little 8-inch by I think 7-inch, something, maybe 6-inch, I don't remember, long, 8 inches wide, little squares, 12 on the top, 12 on the bottom. So 24 for every window. And my husband was like, we need to clean these windows. And I was just like completely overwhelmed. Nope. That's one of those things that's just not on my list. I'm not, and he was talking about like the outside of the windows. And I was just like,
no.
No, but and this tells you how long it's been since I've done it. We had our house painted last summer, and just from the like cleaning things and rinsing, there was like little like spots, not of paint, but of like tinted colored water that dried on the windows. So they looked even dirtier.
Yes.
And so I wasn't in disagreement. I just didn't want to do it. So I thought, well, I get myself a sparkly tool, because what gets in my head is I break all my nails when I clean windows.
Mm-hmm.
And because there's so many little squares, I'm constantly hitting my fingers against them.
Yeah.
And I didn't have anything small enough to clean without, like, I could use a rag, but it's very little buffering around my fingers. I put gloves on, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I end up ruining my fingernails. So I found this little guy, and I kept trying to find something narrow enough
for each little.
Can I just tell you, I just brought out my little Windex, window spray, and I wet this thing down and kind of just squeezed out the excess moisture. And then I would just spray the windows and use the moisture. And then I had a dishcloth. And so I would scrape, wipe, just clean. It did it so quickly and easily that I love this thing. It has a insert if you're going to do like a higher window. I did not buy the extender because I just wanted to try this. And I wasn't sure if they're interchangeable, because I know we have other tools that have extenders in the garage. So we might already have, but I did all of the downstairs windows, and I have to tell you, on the front of the house only. I am not like, these are the kind of things when I see them on people's list of things to, household chores, I'm like, I have to do that too.
That's a thing people clean.
Really? Like, I remember like the first time I had a cleaning company come and clean my house when we were getting ready to sell a house, and they came to do like the deep clean before we moved out. And I remember like they picked up my toaster and like pulled the tray out, and I didn't even know that was a thing.
Oh, where all the crumbs.
Yes. And I was like so horrified by the years and years of, again, I have 4 kids of crumbs. I was like, how embarrassing. I didn't even know that did that. So like, I just remember like how many things like they were like wiping off, like, and I do this now, not regularly, just when I notice fingerprints, but like they were wiping off all of the light switches for fingerprints, like all of these things that I was like, I don't even see that. So
right, or like the refrigerator, when there's like handprints, I never wipe that down.
No, it's like you don't really see it.
Yeah.
And so I was blown away by how clear the windows are. It's very sparkly look out the windows right now. I got used to them being kind of spotty and dirty. So $13.99 on Amazon. The Unger, U as in uncle, NGER professional 6-inch window cleaning tool is what I used, and I loved it. And like I said, I only did the front. Who knows how long it will hold up over time. It has like this Velcro, so you can wash. You can take this guy off and wash it. So far, and it did have really good reviews. I did look it up. So from my one-time use experiencing it, I do recommend giving it a go. If you do, I'd love to hear your experience. I hope that it's as good or better than mine, but I can't guarantee it because everybody has their own experience with things, but it worked for me. So that is my product of the week and what I purchased this week. Checked off. All right. Now for my tip for the week. So this is going to be a really quick one. Famous last words. But this is something that ever since I was a kid, I became aware. I'm very visual. So I hold on to visual things really strongly. And I remember like that movie, The Exorcist, was on like TV for whatever reason when I was little. And I remember literally like seeing this scene that was really scary of her being like in bed. Yeah. I only saw part of it. And I remember like, I was like lying on the sofa, and I pulled the blanket up and I hid, but I could still hear things. Right. And when I tell you I didn't sleep, honestly, it was probably more than a year, but let's say at least 6 months. But I honestly think it was much longer than that. But I mean, I was terrified. I was so terrified of maybe because she was in bed when it happened. I don't know. I couldn't. Girl. Oh my gosh, it was horrific. Yes. And so when I had my kids, I used to always tell them I remember they wanted to watch Star Wars, and I wouldn't let them watch the third one, Revenge of the Sith, because it was so scary. Is that with the red guy? No, that's the first one. That's trying to think what would be scared of. Well, it was the whole he fights Anakin and he gets his legs cut off and he's in there's melting away and he's evil. He kills all of the kids that are training to be Jedi. It's really, really evil. Yeah. And
So
it's in a way that New Hope isn't, right? So I was always like, nope, got to protect your brain. I don't want you to see that. I don't want you to know that. And like, there's certain movies, even as adults, I was always like, I don't want you to watch Silence of the Lambs. I just like, these are things that you need to protect your brain. So that was always my thing, was protect your brain from images, because once you see them and you get them in your head, you can't get them out. So I use this in a lot of areas to help me to support my own brain, because I have an awareness, like even if I go into bookstores, I remember when I went into a bookstore as a kid, there was, and I've never been able to find the book again, but I was really young and there was a book, like, I guess like on a bestseller shelf. And it was like a woman with like somebody you can't see. She's like sitting down and there's like clearly like a man standing behind her, but you can't see him. You can just see like his waist. And there's a hatchet through her head and she just has blood dripping down. And that terrified me. So I've always been afraid of people coming up behind me that they're going to have a hatchet. Like I'm like, okay, apparently my brain is very creative and can incorporate all of these visuals into this. How is this dangerous?
Scenarios.
Yeah. And so my kids know, like, I don't like sitting in a movie theater unless it's the back row and there's a wall behind me. I just don't like it. I'm distracted the whole time. I'm always worried of somebody behind me. If somebody coming behind me with a hatchet. Be aware of it. If they hit me with a hatchet, I hopefully would go really quickly. But regardless, images that are disturbing, I want to protect my brain from. So for this reason, I really don't watch the news. I can't unsee what I've seen, right? Once it's in my brain, it's like really sticky and it doesn't serve me. So I protect my brain by trying to intentionally not allow things in. And I invite you to consider, what, if this resonates at all for you, just like out there, and you guys are like, all right, Patty, this is TMI and maybe you should see someone about that. But I have always intentionally protected my brain. So I mind what I encounter in the news. I always tell like the kids, like if there's some new scary thing, like I don't need to know what that is, because I have enough I can be concerned about. I don't need more. I don't look at images that are disturbing to me. I also protect it from negative emotions and negative people. So if I know something is going to drain me, that makes things harder for me to tolerate. So I'm mindful of that. And I also incorporate protecting your brain. Another area is decision fatigue. So if you have to make a bunch of decisions, I always, for myself, try to support myself to make them early when I have more energy, to not make important decisions later in the day, and to set up my environment so that my default decisions don't get in my way. So by that, I mean, if I'm like hungry and I'm tired at the end of the day, so my decider is tired and I'm not going to make the best decision to support myself, I don't want to have ice cream in the house. Right. So it's like, I want to have fruit in abundance that's fresh and, you know, pulling me in and making it like, oh, I get some grapes right now. That'd be great. Or I'll cut up an apple. That'll be lovely. Instead of, I'm just going to scoop me some ice cream and sit and pour fudge on it. And it's lovely, but it's not what I would choose if my decider wasn't tired. So in reverse of that, I want to fill my mind with positivity, surround myself with positive people. Like Becca always knows I was drawn to her because of her positivity. And just like I shared last week, I, look for opportunities to learn more about what does support our brain. So like, I've been really excited about continuing my exposure to my bird songs, because ever since they described it like this balm, I literally sit outside and I picture it like just coating my brain in these positive sounds that just calm me down and make me feel one with nature. And it's very, very
meditating,
very sparkly. So my tip is protect your brain, whatever that means for you, so that you're not letting images in or people in wherever you can that are not good for your brain. So that's my tip. Okay, on for our topic this week. So my topic is, so now maybe you're recently diagnosed with ADHD. What now? Right? So I always say, like, a diagnosis is information, but it's not giving you kind of a roadmap to navigate with now. If you've been prescribed medication, again, that's one tool in your toolbox, but it's not everything. It doesn't teach you what ADHD looks like for you. So I've had lots of clients over the years that will come, and I have on part of my intake form, I ask my clients, how much do you know about ADHD and how it shows up for you?
Yeah.
And they'll tell me, I've read lots of books. I've attended webinars. Some have even, gone to conferences.
Wow.
But that almost always doesn't translate into what does that mean in your life for how it shows up for you? Because it is very unique for each person. So we understand what it is, but we don't always then incorporate it into, well, that makes sense. That's why I do this. And if we do, we aren't then putting a strategy in place to support it. So it's how do you go from where you are to where you want to be in order to support yourself? And so I just wanted to explore some possible next steps. Okay. So number one, it's normal to have mixed emotions. So typically when somebody gets an ADHD diagnosis, they can feel either a sense of remorse, like if you got diagnosed later in life, of, oh, if only I'd known this sooner. There's so many things I could have done. I could have understood and not beat myself up, because I didn't understand why I did these things differently. I just thought I was stupid or lazy or whatever. It's also normal to feel validated. It's like, okay, that explains a lot. That makes perfect sense. Maybe even a sense of relief. Like, I knew there was something.
It's all coming together.
Yeah. Maybe you're confused, right? So it's like, okay, great. What does that mean? What do I need to do so that this isn't continuing to become a huge obstacle and a barrier in my life? So remember, ADHD diagnosis is an explanation, but it's not a label. It's not who you are, it's what you have. Let me say that again. It's not who you are, it's what you have. So my second step is to stay curious. So the first thing would be curious about what it is so that you're understanding what are the classic signs, what are the things that create challenges, what are the things that are typically strengths. So you're noticing patterns for yourself. That curiosity is really about connecting to, oh yeah, I do this. I've always done this. That makes sense. Other people don't do it this way, but when I do, it works. So now we're noticing the patterns that work for you. And it might also be, what I noticed, everybody else like plans their day. I just finished a coaching session with one of my college students, and they were using ChatGPT as part of the strategy to come up with a study plan.
Cool.
And I love ChatGPT for things like that. So like you put in like what you need to do and how much time you have and how you want to break it down. And it will like be like, okay, so this much time each day. If you do this, you'll be ready. If that feels constrictive when you see what the plan is, then it's all about tweaking it based on what you know about yourself. Because it could be, okay, I know if I try to study for more than 30 minutes at a go, it doesn't work for me. Can you retweak this plan with 30-minute time blocks? And how would you structure that throughout the day when I work full time? Or how would you structure that on this schedule? Whatever it is, so you can ask for it to be more customized. That's part of the system. So I always say we're good at planning or finding ways in, and that's a huge time saver if ChatGPT or another AI device is something that interests you to try. But that isn't everything we need. We need to then figure out how to implement the plan. Having the plan is great. Implementing is often the struggle. So stay curious about your patterns. And when you think about past challenges or past failures, if you will, try to reframe them so that they're not carrying that heavy weight that gets in your way and drains your energy. So instead of like, oh my gosh, I'm always running late, it might be just changing it to, time management is something that I am not as strong in as far as skills go. I'm getting better at it by using some alarms and, visual clocks to better support myself. So I say it's not an excuse to say, yep, I have ADHD, so I just run late. It's an explanation. I have ADHD. It makes time a little bit challenging for me. So I'm learning what I need to be able to be more aware of it. So I'm arriving on time more consistently. So it's just able to explain where you're stuck and what you're doing to move past it. And number 3, learn how your ADHD shows up. So just like I've been saying, it looks a little bit different for each of us. So just because I have this a lot with parents that I work with when I work with families, we'll say, well, I have ADHD too, and I always turn my work in. Okay, let's stay curious about what is their experience, because maybe they want to turn all their work in, but they haven't figured out a way to do that that works for them yet.
Yeah, something
So our
special.
experience is our own, but it doesn't necessarily translate to what you experience as the same thing. So maybe you had a challenge someplace that somebody else doesn't, and you have a strength someplace that somebody else has a weakness. That's very common. So try tracking when your energy is high and low, where your emotional regulation tends to get dysregulated or supports you. Sometimes it's really subtle. It might be like, I am really good one-on-one, but I get overwhelmed if there's like a lot of background noise.
Yeah.
So it's just noticing like, what are the conditions that support you and what gets in your way? Look for those patterns. And the second piece of this is start your personal owner's manual. Start a POM, P-O-M. It's an owner's manual for your unique brain wiring. So if you're interested in creating an ADHD-friendly POM, check out my website, ADHD-friendly.com. I have a free mini POM. Just register with your email. You can always unsubscribe if you don't want to receive my newsletter, but you'll get a free mini POM, and it's just a way in. It's a way to start. Number 4, ask for help if you need it. You don't have to go this route alone. If your information, time with your doctor isn't giving you everything that you need, try coaching. Try a therapist that has expertise in ADHD. Find support groups for people that are similar. There's tons of adult support groups for people that are entrepreneurs, for people that have ADHD and are married to a neurotypical, non-ADHD partner. ADD.org has a lot of these. Need to be a member of ADA to access them, but they have a lot of support groups all online that you can access for various things. Or you might want to check out, again, the ADHD friendly membership, where everything is designed to support you in ADHD friendly ways, lots of live events, as well as on-demand content in there. Number 5, build your ADHD friendly toolbox. So part of that is a POM that I mentioned in number 3. But also it's capturing what rewards work for you, successes, so that you can tap back into them when you're low energy, and maybe even like time management tools, like how to make things, what I always call external, visual, and concrete, so you can see them and use them. Number 6, there's only 7, so I'm getting there. Create your ADHD friendly roadmap to success. So highlight progress over perfection. There is no perfect. So let's just blow that out of the water right now. I realize this just looks funny sitting over here. I'm going to move it. It's distracting me. Move my little squeegee. Maybe come up with your own mantras, like all these like back pocket sayings that you can use to help shift out of negative perspective. If you're having negative self-talk, it might be just shifting with a little like mantra of like, Patty, you got this. Like, don't listen to that. Shift away. And maybe even just list steps that are smaller so you can navigate them. So I do this a lot with my clients where it sounds totally doable until they go to do something. And I always say, if you still have resistance, it might be, so let's say you were planning on, this is the day I'm going to start my walking routine. And you're really like, oh, doing it. I cannot wait. I'm so excited. I can't wait to celebrate next time we talk. Fabulous. And then the day comes that you planned it and you go to do it. And it's like, yeah, not so much. Maybe you just make it smaller and I'm just going to put on my socks and walking shoes.
Yeah.
And that's it. Or maybe I'm going to put on my socks, walking shoes, and stand outside.
Oh, there you go.
You can come back inside, but just notice if you make it small enough, does it help you to start?
Yeah.
If you put your shoes on, that's better than nothing. If you put your shoes on and walk outside, that's better than that. Hey. So it might be, I put my shoes on and I'm just going to get the mail. Okay. Yeah. That's more than nothing. We have to break out of the all or nothing and the perfectionism and just do something. And then finally, remember, you've got this. You have a creative brain. When we have ADHD, we are really good at coming up with solutions that are kind of that coming at it from a different angle, that outside the box thinking. So I want to remind you, you're not alone. It can feel really isolating. I remember as a mom with ADHD, when my kiddos started getting diagnosed with ADHD, I just thought, I don't know if there's anything harder than raising kids with ADHD when you also have ADHD. It was like this cruel universal joke that I didn't get at all. I just thought this is just not easy to do, because I was constantly like, oh my gosh, I feel like I'm forgetting things and my kids are showing up without they need, because I didn't have the working memory and I didn't know any of this when my kids were really little. So just remember you're not alone, and tap into support where you need it, when you need it. The diagnosis can provide a sense of relief because now we know what's going on.
Yeah.
But also it highlights some areas that might need to be strengthened and supported. So get the support you need so that you can strengthen those areas that are getting in your way. And I just want to again remind you, if you're considering connecting with my work, the ADHD friendly membership is only $95 a month. That's it. And there are on-demand courses. There's a personal owner's manual course in there that you can go right into the minute you sign up and access. Join for a month, tap into everything, try it out. There's no minimum requirement. If you don't like it, cancel it. I hope you don't, but if you do, it's okay. If you want to join for a year and just commit to trying it for a year, you'll be able to access the ADHD Friendly year-long course. Right now we're in the spring semester, and June, we are going to be diving into managing money with ADHD, calling it dollars and dopamine, all throughout the month of June. And so this will come out in the middle of June. You still have access to everything that we've done. Will be added slides, or there'll still be more live programming. So that's only $950 for the year. You get 2 months free, live workshops, live webinars, live accountability partner body double sessions, and on-demand content.
All the good stuff.
Building every single month. We're getting more in there. So check it out. It's designed with you in mind. I hope you'll join us. All right, now for the book of the week. Our final thing. I think this is very apropos. No Ordinary Bird.
Ooh.
This is not a book about somebody with ADHD, except, and I cannot diagnose because I'm not a medical professional, and this person is no longer alive. Oh. But I would say meets the diagnostic criteria of ADHD. Okay, so this is coming out in September. So this is an early, like, put it on your list if this interests you. I got this from NetGalley as a advanced copy, and I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. Ooh. So it's by Artis Henderson, and this is what I wrote about. I said, No Ordinary Bird reminded me a lot about another story about another drug smuggler during the same timeline. And it was made into that movie American Made with Tom Cruise. Oh. I swear I looked it up because I was like, is this supposed to be the same person? Except the kids, like, ages didn't match and line up. So no, it's about somebody else, but the same timeline, again, went from being a professional, I think he was an Eastern Airlines pilot, into being a drug smuggler. Ooh. And it's told from the lens, it's nonfiction, so it's a true story. It's told from the lens, it's a true story, just like American Made was, which is why I just found that. Did you see it? It's fascinating. I love that movie. It's told by his daughter. And so she was only 5 when her father died. And she was, and this is, I'm not spoiling it because it tells you this in the very beginning. She was in the plane that crashes when he dies. And she did all the work that she needed to research all the details of his life, because she wanted to, learn as much as she could about it. Exactly. And so it's told through her lens and through her research, her memories, and the details. It was compelling, really. Now, I do love a true story. Yes. So I really did enjoy this. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. If this is up your alley, mark it down, comes out September 2nd, 2025. So just you can kind of have that be like your fall reading list item to check out. Or get on your, if you're like library pre-orders things, you can get on the waiting list for your library first thing. You'll beat other people. So now for my quote of the week, it comes from this book. And no, does it? I didn't write down where. I don't think it did. And I apologize. I didn't write down where the quote. Oh, it's unknown. Unknown. Oh, that's why I didn't write it down. Okay. But it ties to birds and what we're talking about in terms of getting diagnosed and not quite knowing what now. Yeah. So the quote is, a bird sitting on a tree is never afraid of the branch breaking, because her trust is not on the branch, but on her own wings. Oh, fun. That gives me chills. I love that, because we can do anything when we understand our strengths and we have that personal owner's manual that captures the things that we need to do to thrive. You can't stop us. We can do anything. So I love that. And I think about that when I watch my birds, because I'm like, they are like sometimes they'll jump on a dead branch and it just like really, but it's like, I got this. And it's the whole thing. It's like, okay, you know what? Maybe I'm going to step off of this and fall, but I trust that I'm going to get back up and keep going because I'm learning about what works for me. And that's how we thrive with ADHD. That's it for this episode. Until next time, tally ho.
you.